it can feel so hard to remember that when you feel like shit and everything feels like shit, that like when you're in that, to remember that like it's only temporary, like it's not going to be like that forever, and that it's actually really a good thing that you're experiencing that. Like, I could have never imagined being little 27-year-old, little lost, confused girl that I was then, sitting here however many years later, laughing and being like, yeah, life slapped me awake. It sucked. But it was worth it. To me, what I've seen is like things increasingly get more intense and difficult before they're about to burst and like completely deconstruct and destruct, so that, you know, something new can come forward and be built. And that's what this feels like. I'm literally in the midst of breaking a lifetime cycle, and possibly even many lifetimes I've been like hooked into this cycle and this pattern. And you know, it's been painful. It's been painful, but I know I'm gonna look back on all this one day and I'm gonna be like, damn, that was intense, but I'm glad it happened because it woke me up. Kind of like how I look at my arrest. You know, when I was in the midst of that was 10, oh my God, was that seriously 10 years ago? Oh, it was more than 10 years ago. Holy sh! 13, 14, 15, 16. So it was at the end of 2011. So like 11 years ago. Oh my God. Damn, time has gone by fast. But the more present I am, time actually slows down. So when I look back on that experience and how traumatizing it was to go through that and to endure what I endured for the following year and some change. That year was so freaking hard. Like, I was on and off the wagon. I was actually still using pretty regularly. I was still driving my car even though I was on a suspended license. And the way I can't believe like just how unconscious I was. Also, I was just reckless and I didn't care. You know, I really had that belief like I just was going to die before I turned 30. I really believed that. But, you know, when I look back on that, like there was so much I had to do. The drug and alcohol classes, the community service, all the money in fines and lawyer fees, and it was just... Yeah, and then like trying to get sober and clean, but like still being completely enmeshed with like the Venice party scene. It was a tough time. Everything was changing. I had one foot in the world of who I used to be, one foot in the world of who I was trying to become, and where life was moving me. And, you know, I did check out a lot during that time, but I also was learning how to not do that. And feeling my life in a more purified way, I almost want to say, like where I was sort of breaking out of my victimhood consciousness a little bit, or starting to. And the reason why I bring that up is because at the time it was really hard and it sucked, and it was just like, oh my God, is this ever gonna end? And it was such a huge wake-up call for me. Like, it literally turned my whole world upside down, in the same way that it was when my dad died less than 10 years before that. Wow. Oh, how interesting. For the last 3 decades, at like the 9-10 year mark, like some major thing happens and it like turns my whole world upside down, and I have to like rewrite my entire life as I know it. Everything I thought was real and true like begins to crumble and fall away and like self-destruct, and I have to like become a newborn baby and learn how to walk and talk and be all over again in this new level of awareness, level of being in the world. And so this is no different than that. And 10 years from now, I'm going to look back on this and I'm going to be like, wow, I'm glad that happened. Like, it was one of the best things that ever happened for me. Because that's how I see my arrest. That it was one of the best things that's ever happened for me. It woke me up. It shook me. It bitch slapped me awake, okay? Oh my God. If you would have told me, like, I could have never imagined being little 27-year-old, little lost, confused girl that I was then, sitting here however many years later, laughing and being like, yeah, life bitch slapped me awake. It sucked. But it was worth it. Life is just such a, and I mean this in like the lightest way possible, but it's just such a joke, you know? And again, I mean that in like the lightest, childlike, innocent way. You know, it's like this cosmic joke that we like take things so seriously and things feel so intense and serious, and that's part of what we signed up for when we came here, you know? But like, the more we reflect and awaken, and then we can see like the truth. Like, it's just, God, if I had a nickel for every time I said this, but it's just all so perfect. Part of me is like so annoyed and like finds it so obnoxious that like I see life that way, you know, but I do, you know, I just do. And it's not even like I just see it that way. Like it just feels true. I feel like I have like just tons of proof of that, like how perfect everything is that unfolds. And it just, there's always more proof coming forward. So it's only a matter of time before I look back on where I'm at in my life right now and I say the same thing. So if I could just take my own advice on this post that I shared not that long ago about like trusting the timing of your life and everything. I almost want to read that. I'm going to read the whole post. It'll happen when it's time. When you're ready, I just got the chills. When you're ready, you're ready. You'll know when you know. You'll either register these phrases as frustratingly obvious and discard them without a second thought, or you'll chuckle as the intrinsic wisdom in you nods its head like, yep. We earth folk just love to set deadlines for literally everything in our lives. I want to be married with 2.5 kids before I turn 35. I need to find my dream home by insert date here. My business will be flourishing by my birthday next year. But what many of us don't realize is that when we have strict expectations about the timing of our lives and things don't pan out the way we planned for them to, there can be this tendency to feel like we've somehow failed or made a wrong turn somewhere, or like life just doesn't want to see us happy or successful. But this couldn't be farther from the truth. The truth is, all living things are encoded with an evolutionary intelligence. Like the plants and animals, our organic unfolding has a unique timing all its own that's both innate and influenced by our environment within and without. Learning how to balance inspired, intentional action taking with deep presence and surrender to the flow of each moment is a fine art skill that one will spend their life honing. And like any skill, it gets easier to do with dedication and practice. Get clear on the direction you're heading in and take aligned steps every day, but release the whens and the wheres and even the hows. Life has this magnificent way of always getting it right. I'm getting emotional. And historically, if you contemplate your past, you'll find plenty of proof of this. They don't say hindsight is 20/20 for nothing. So why not consciously bring that awareness into your present reality, knowing that even if things seem to be moving slowly now, that one day you'll look back and say to yourself, ah, yes, that's why. Because you will. Show up to each moment with an open heart, open eyes, and open ears. Your presence and willingness to explore what's in front of you right now will take you where your soul desires to go. Not a moment too soon and not a moment too late. Damn, that's good. I need to just toot my own horn for a minute because that's really freaking good. And I need to take my own advice. So there's that. It can feel so hard to remember that when you feel like shit and everything feels like shit, that like when you're in that, to remember that like it's only temporary. Like it's not going to be like that forever, and that it's actually really a good thing that you're experiencing that. And you can't tell someone when they're going through that, when they're in a time like that, you can't tell them, "Oh, you're in a fertile space." I did that the other day, like on one of my stories, and I could just feel the energy of some people who read it. They were just like, "F you, Rachel." But it's true. I said it because it's like, I mean it. Like, it's true. Like, you don't, when you're in it, no, you don't see it like, oh, I'm in a really fertile space right now. But I feel like you can. You can train yourself to like see life like that. I feel like I'm in the process of learning how to do that. I feel like it seems like I'm able to move through rough patches with greater ease and presence every new challenge that comes up for me. And yes, part of the challenge is in the forgetting that you're in a challenge and in like an extremely painful and difficult space. Part of what makes it so challenging and such a fertile time is in the forgetting that it's only temporary, because there's alchemy taking place. There's like this sacred process that is occurring in that forgetting, in the pain of forgetting, that is quintessential to the breakthrough and the opening. It's the way, it's the catalyst. And so I want to bring forward like a contemplation of, what if when we're in the depths of a dark night, we can have some reminder for ourselves nearby, light a candle to remind ourselves. It doesn't even have to be a mental understanding, try to figure things out or push away or deny what's happening or even try to rush through it or anything. But just light that candle like, this too shall pass. But right now, this is what it is for me. And I'm just going to be as present as I possibly can in every moment with it. And I'm going to be forgiving towards myself when I forget that and I crumble and I fall to my knees. Because when the time is right, I will remember. And I will see why that had to happen the way that it did. And I will, and from that recognition, a gratitude, a deep sense of gratitude will blossom, and it will come forward, and it will pour out of my heart, out of my soul, out of my spirit. Thank you for this challenge. Thank you. Thank you for showing me what I'm ready to see. Thank you for showing me what I was ready to see. Thank you for taking me there. I see now. I see now why that had to happen that way. And I'm going to learn from this. And I'm going to be better for it. I'm going to be stronger for it, for knowing this, for having this information. Thank you. This is a blessing. Alchemy. Lighting the candle can be a symbol. It can be a reminder for your heart. And yeah, for your mind too, because your mind always wants to get involved. Right? Can't leave out the mind. It gets real salty if you do. When you light that candle, it's a reminder for yourself. This too shall pass.